So I want to talk to you today about everything that innovation can be, things that innovation might not seem to be, and the problems of creative thinking. And I want to walk you through a number of interesting little cases, weird little engagements, and a few words of warning. Not in order to tell you this is what Ericsson should do, even though that's what professors tend to do, even though they don't know shit about shit, but rather to say that when you have a conversation about innovation, when you take these days, this summit, and talk about how Ericsson can become even more innovative than it once has been, what are the challenges, what are the problems we need to look for? What I've always said is that we need cultures where management dares to celebrate glorious failures. Celebrate glorious failures. Now, I have no idea in the world if your ideas will work. Let's say they don't, because I think that's always a more interesting bit. Let's say they don't. Can we have an organization which dares, A, to test out your idea, see it fail miserably, utterly, completely, and then still bring you onto the stage and saying, here, what's your name, sir? My name is Paul Matthews. Paul Matthews. Okay. If we could be here in 2 years, and then you've failed miserably, your idea has completely crashed, and they still bring you out and say, here's Paul Matthews. He has run one of the absolutely most failed projects we've had the last 2 years. It tanked completely. We'll run up 2 lawsuits on the basis of it and lost this much money. We want more of that. That would be a glorious organization. So I'm here not to say that you will fail, but to remind you that when you think about innovation, it is not about finding that perfect system, that perfect best practice, that perfect ordered structure for yourself. It is about really considering our boundaries. Which boundaries to create around ourselves? What things do we push away as being too challenging, too uncomfortable, too silly, too childish, too not invented here? We have a brain that's geared towards pushing stuff away. We have organizations that are enthralled by their success, not their failures. So innovation is about realizing the boundaries and not just thinking that there's a silver bullet that could make us innovate, but realizing our boundaries and doing something about them. To realize that we're all limited, we're all bound up by our history, by the organization, by all this, and that these boundaries need to be questioned. That every time somebody has shooken their heads against an idea in the organization, within that shake, we may have caused the corporation damage. Every time we laugh at a colleague's stupid idea, we may have damaged Ericsson. Every time we say, yeah, but that will never work in this market, we are actively anti-innovation. The job ahead of us is to take this challenge, to take the challenge of daring to realize we have these boundaries, to daring to talk about the boundaries in the organizations, to daring to say that the Ericsson of the future may have little, if anything, to do with the Ericsson of the past. My first example was a silly little company called Central Leather. It was one of the grandest companies of its age. It was a brilliant company. When it came to tanning technologies, they had it all. And they lost it in a few silly years because they thought that was enough. And no one at Central Leather stood up and said, hey, what if we should do jeans? So the question is, what points do you not dare to bring up? What challenges are you not taking right now? And how can we create Ericsson into an environment where taking this challenge, breaking these boundaries, is not just something done after the conference over a glass of wine and forgotten about in the morning, but done in the everyday work of the organization. Thank you very much.